Hello and welcome to About the House. In October, the House Economics Committee held a new round of hearings with the CEOs of Australia's 4 major banks. This set of hearings was notable for 2 reasons. They were the first set of hearings for new committee chair Tim Wilson, and they were held shortly after the release of an interim report by the Royal Commission into Misconduct in the banking, superannuation and financial services industry.
Well, a lot of the questions that flowed through the hearings directly followed from the interim report. So what you saw was the Royal Commission informing then a line of parliamentary accountability by the banks to be asked questions on both specific cases of where Australians have faced wrong or misconduct by banks, but also then to say, well, what should we do about it and how should we seek to inform it to have better laws, better regulation and better regulators so that we can have the type of financial system Australians expect and want, but one where we can hold the banks to account to follow the law. What I've learned is actually the capacity for the Parliament to hold bank CEOs accountable for not just the conduct themselves, but obviously for the whole of the bank, and critically that challenging intersection between big businesses that we regulate and making sure that both they're in touch with our thinking and our concerns, but equally that we're in touch with their sentiments and their concerns so we can get better law.
Hearings are a great way for a committee to collect evidence, but it's what it does with that evidence that's really important.
Well, after parliamentary committees do hearings, then if it's a formal inquiry, they'll have a formal inquiry report. Even after just these hearings, there'll be a report on the hearings about what was taken out of it. But there'll also be follow-on press coverage and discussion, issues raised, which we analyse by whether it's regulators. I wouldn't be surprised if the Royal Commissioner read some of the transcripts of what came out of this hearing and might inform his judgment, his thinking for when he hands down his final report or even his further questioning of bank CEOs. So you've got to recognise that there's a multitude of ways that inquiries can have an impact and can start whole new discussions that didn't happen before it. And then ultimately may very well have further hearings in this Parliament or the next one.
2018 has been a big year for scrutiny of the financial services industry, with widespread coverage of the revelations from the Royal Commission.
When you step in the middle of an inquiry surrounded by a Royal Commission in a very, let's say, newsworthy environment around banks, it's an interesting time to step right in and jump head first. But it's also an opportunity because it means that everything we're talking about is topical, relevant, people are talking about it. And so it actually means you get a real amplification of the work that you're doing because people are paying attention. But the challenge is you're being judged. And, you know, people regularly send in emails saying you do a good job, you're doing a bad job, however they see it. But it also gives you this opportunity when there's a lot of content for people to contact you directly as an MP, to feed it into the parliamentary system and to be able to hold others to account.
Thanks for watching. To learn more about the Economics Committee, or to read its previous reports on Australia's 4 major banks, you can visit aph.gov.au/economics.